Hi, I'm Ztarli, and in this video I'll be drawing my own dragon character Tarli. Now I'm using a 3D printed model as a reference, and I'm just going to sketch around the outside of this, and there we go, that's done, we're finished. Well, thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you all next time. I'm kidding, it was a joke. It was a terrible joke, I know, but the sketch just looks so amazing I couldn't resist. Well, anyway, this is my character Tarli. She's my own dragon I made up of all the favorite parts of dragons I like. So she's like a noodle dragon. She's got antelope horns and ears because I really like that aesthetic. And she's got a cute little sort of deer nose or goat nose. But I also like having large fangs, so she has got these large fangs that come down from the top and ones that come up from the bottom, but they're not as big. The large fangs sit on the outside of her jaw, and the smaller fangs at the bottom, they all fit inside of her jaw. And she's made up of all my favorite colors to shade. So she's made up of purples and greeny tealy colors and creams. And her eyes are like orange and pink. So she's a mix of weird colors, but they're my favorite colors to shade and tone and stuff. So that's why she's the way she is. She's basically everything I enjoy about drawing and coloring. In this picture, she also will be using her elements. So she has got an element, which is my favorite element, of course, which is lightning. So she does have like a lightning breath, and when she uses it, she sort of has these lightning arcs or residue come off her horns, which I'll be drawing in as well. Yeah. And the reference that I was using, the 3D printed model, is actually a model I modeled myself and rendered, and I have my own 3D printer, so I used a resin printer to print it out. I'm still yet to paint it. I kind of have to get my airbrush out to do it and get a bit steadier with the airbrush. But I'll make sure to share it with you all once I do airbrush the model so you can see what it looks like painted. I also really enjoy adding gold accents to things, so she does have like a gold rim to the edge of all of her large scales, which go all the way along her nose, and then she has two at the side of her mane all the way down her neck and back until they sort of become the color of her tail. They sort of become less plates and sort of larger scales that lose the rim of gold, and it ends in like a gold sort of triangle, sort of really got it, sort of like stretched diamond tail, which is gold. But yeah, I like shading gold as well, so that's why she has gold in there. I decided I was going to do a full background for this. I'm terrible at doing clouds, so I decided I would do clouds just to practice doing them more so I get better at them. I'm actually kind of pleased with how this cloud background came out. I do fiddle with it a little bit right near the end, but other than that, it pretty much stays the same for the whole painting, just with this sort of little bit of sun coming in from the bottom right, and then it's sort of fairly dark because I wanted to have some interesting lighting effects here. So you'll see me playing with the lighting quite a bit throughout the piece. Now originally I was planning on keeping the lines, so I did actually go ahead and colorize the lines. I wanted all the lines to be the color of the dragon parts, so you know, the green parts have green lines and that kind of thing. It actually ended up being a bit of a pain later on because, as usual, I didn't actually keep the liner. I painted over everything. In some places I had to completely paint over parts of it because I'd used color lines, especially the horns, because the lines are very thick, and so to get the horns looking like they fit the rest of the dragon, I had to paint over the entire thing. Now I'm doing my shadow and highlight layers, and I wanted to have pretty stark shadows and highlights on this, so you can see a lot of it is in complete shadow, and then from the right hand side I'm going to have some light coming from the setting sun or rising sun, whatever you decide it wants to be. So there's lots of orange coming in from the right hand side, and it's fairly dark deep desaturated blues on the left hand side, and it kind of remains like this for a long time until right near the end, where I add even more color from the sun onto it using a gradient, but you'll see that at the end. I did add these lightning bits in here, but they are temporary. I will replace them later on with better lighting effects. It's just so I get an idea of where I'm going to have my lighting for the lightning. Now all of my lines and my colors are merged together, so I'm starting to paint. I use the smudge tool a lot on this picture, so I smudge a lot of it, all the shadowing in, and then I add more sort of detailed shading to the picture and smudge it all in. So there's a lot of smudging going on here, not so much blending with the teardrop. It's mostly just smudging colors in together, and I spent a long time trying to adjust the face, as it's not quite, I never get quite fully happy with it. It just feels like, I don't know, maybe because I had that hideous sketch at the start, I probably shouldn't have traced over top of the 3D print. I just really wanted to get the angle down because it's a bit of a hard angle for me to draw, but in hindsight I probably should have just eyeballed it and sketched it instead of tracing it and then redrawing the line art over top of it. So I do a lot of erasing down of the sides, and later on in the video there's a lot of adjusting of the eyes and the thickness of the head, and you can see there I've just moved the scales down because I thought the nose part was too long. So there's a lot of fixing in this using the select tool and the transform tool, but I ended up happy with it. So I think it ended up a good picture in the end after I fixed all the mistakes. But yeah, I have an idea on what my next piece is going to be, but I want to spend a long time doing it, and it is going to be a bit of a difficult angle for me. So I'm probably going to split that video into 2 parts because I think the video is going to end up quite long in the end. But to fill the gap in between them, I've started doing these Speedpaint snacks, is what I call them. They're not going to have any commentary on them. They may have a bit of text, but that's about it. They're going to be 6 minutes long, and basically it's just me challenging myself to draw something and fully color it in an hour. So it's just like a little upload to get you through to my next larger upload that will have voiceover and like a full-length video. For the lightning on this, I use this chisel pen, which is actually really fun. It was really fun to use this, and I thought it made a really good lightning effect. Unfortunately, I did draw it all on the wrong layer, so it was all drawn on the same layer as my painting, which normally wouldn't be a problem if I'd actually finished the painting part, but I tend to get ahead of myself, and I like to see what's, I want to see the next part before I finish the current part. So I drew on the lightning before I'd finished shading and fixing up the rest of the dragon, so it was a pretty major problem to have it all on the same layer. So in the end, I had to basically undo all of the strokes for the lightning, then open a new layer and make sure that the new layer had the lightning on it and it was separate to my original painting. In the end, I was happier with how my lightning came out. I think it looks better than the original lightning, but I was pretty sad when it first happened because I was happy with the original lightning and how the chisel pen was working. But I think, as you can see here, I think this looks pretty cool. I'm quite happy with the effects for this lightning that I've drawn coming out of my mouth. You kind of can't see a tongue and a teeth anymore, but lightning is pretty damn bright, so I don't think you'd be able to see them anyway. It's time to make that hair look less like Vegeta and Goku Super Saiyan hair and more like actual hair. I'm gonna admit it does still look like Super Saiyan hair at the end of this video, but at least it kind of looks like it might have separate strands of hair amongst it. I don't know. I have to fix these horns first because I'll be painting the hair over top of the horns. So I have to now, you can see now I'm basically painting over all of the line art around the horns and then recoloring them and changing the shape of the horns slightly, and then I'll go back to painting the hair, just grabbing different colors. The hair was kind of a bit complex because of the different lighting I had everywhere, and I don't know actually what happened here. My program decided to change the aspect of the picture whilst I was drawing it, so for some reason it went really thin and then went back to normal. I don't know what happened there, but I'm gonna have to adjust the face anyway, so I actually change how thick the face is later on. We can see I'm adding like little strips, little strands of loose hairs all around the picture. So I think it looks like hair, kinda. Hair's hard. If anybody says hair's easy, then please show me how to make easy hair. That'd be greatly appreciated. And it wouldn't really be a Ztarli video without a very late change to the whole picture, because I've been staring at something that's not quite right the whole time. So the eyes were not level, so I had to re-level the eyes and then fixed their positioning, and I made the face a bit thinner as well, so I just sort of skewed it a little bit so it was thinner, especially at the bottom part of the picture, or around the cheek essentially. And then at the very end I realized I made this line down the center of the face, and you'll see me having to fix it, but I don't notice that at this point, so I move on. So now I'm adding some more lighting to this picture, so this is where I'm adding quite a stark light coming from the sun, and I think it works really well. So I used a gradient and then I erased away where the light wouldn't be hitting it, and so it sort of has a darker shadow in those recesses on the dragon's face. I then crop it down a little bit, or recrop it rather, and I decided I want to move the position of the dragon and the lightning so that it's more centered, and that's when you see I find the line I created in the middle of my drawing when I adjusted it and didn't notice, so I had to go through and fix that all up and then finish moving it into the correct position. Just making some final adjustments to the lighting and the colors of the picture, and then we are pretty much done. Just adding some focus by duplicating the character layer, blurring it, and then erasing around the places I would like to be completely in focus. And then I add my signature and it's done. So there you go. This is my character, my dragon character, Tarli. I'm really creative with names. It's just my name, but oh well. And thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like. If you'd like to see more, then subscribe to my channel. I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support me. Thanks again for watching. Bye!